So, you found me. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Dr. Funk live show. Hope everyone is doing great. Thank you guys so much for subscribing on Apple Music, on YouTube, and following Spotify, Facebook, all the other platforms. We appreciate you guys being here. We always also appreciate donations, helping the show be funkier than ever. Here we are today for Stephen Hill, part 3. What's going on, Kim? What's going on, Susie? What's going on, Brian? We got Pennsylvania up in the house, Canada up in the house, Australia, Germany. Damn, we're getting going. I'm not going to have you wait too much. Hope everyone has been doing all right. Welcome to a special Tuesday show of the Dr. Funk live show. And we're not going to waste any more time because when you have Stephen Hill on, you want to get to Stephen Hill immediately and get the time going on. So here we are. Here is Mr. Stephen Hill, loving life, loving God, loving sexy. Going with shirt number 1.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. Oh, my bad. Hey, was that? I didn't see you. I didn't see you right there. Dr. Drfunkenberry, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
You know, I am living the proverbial dream, sir, every single day. Every single day. So, feeling good. Glad to be back. Thanks for inviting me back for a third time. I know I get a little loquacious and keep it going far more than I should, but you know.
Yeah, I didn't want you to feel rushed last time, so I'm like, let's get a part 3 set up.
Yes. As long as I can leave out of here, as long as I can be out of here in time for my my 6 a.m. flight, will be good.
I think we got it covered. I think we should be good, but you never know. We're opening up for people to ask questions that have listened to show number 1, show number 2, because there's people who want to ask about Gainsport, there's people who want to talk about Rick James. So we're going to go into it. Like last time we were talking, and I didn't want you to feel rushed about like when you saw him in New York at the Jordan private show. Was there any details? Because we were kind of rushing. Was there anything that you're like, wanted to bring that up?
No, it was an incredibly loose show. And I remember him seeing me out of the corner of their eye and extending his hand to bring me up on stage to dance. Because and a number of times he knew I would start the dance. He knew I wasn't going to be Kim Kardashian up there refusing to dance, right? I had no problem being the executive who was up there dancing with abandon and encouraging other folks to come up. But it was just a laid back show, and the wounds I was there with that at the time. Snuck in a camera and took a few shots that lived on in posterity. And like I said, I think that may have been the last time I saw him live with a band. That's 2015.
Yeah.
That may have been the last time I saw him live with a band. There may have been another show in 2015, but I don't remember it as well. I remember reading the crowd being a lot of these private shows. You know, I've been to a Paul McCartney private show where literally I saw Paul McCartney after the show, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm freaking Paul McCartney, and I can't get the crowd going at these benefit concerts, right? At these private concerts, I can't get. I'm Paul McCartney." But Prince had everybody in his hand, as he usually does from the very beginning. And it felt like it was a greatest hit set list. It wasn't like you weren't going to get something in the water you drink, or or Ronnie Talk to Russia, but it was just a straight ahead show.
Right. And you didn't go to? Were you able to attend the book release party?
No, I was in LA. I was in LA when that happened. I remember very well.
Right. It happened out of the blue. Like we knew something was going to go on, and then I was kind of like Universal Studios Hollywood, where the announcement comes through, and then we're told the party is happening in about 2 hours, and we're like, okay, all right. Interesting for the people that were there. I mean, look, he would turn anything to it. Here it is, a book announcement. It turns into a book release party announcement.
Of course it does.
But that's how it does. Just like the Super Bowl press conference. And Billy Joel was like, I wish I would have figured that out. That I didn't have to talk to you people. He took his time to just do another set. Yeah. Get in the boat, girls and boys. But he was always thinking outside the box, and he just rather perform than talk anyway.
Yeah, dude, you hit it when you said he was thinking outside the box. You've got to remember that he was the guy who kind of the first major artist who was dealing with the internet. Like, he was the first major artist
Right.
with the internet. And then one day I reminded me that I was like, yeah, I don't deal with the internet anymore because you can't believe the numbers. Who's making the numbers? When the numbers come out, who's doing the numbers? I'm like, oh, man. He was one of the first. I mean, every artist takes their, everybody talks about their masters now, but people weren't talking about their masters and owning their own recordings until Prince brought that up. Right. Out of the box and ahead of his time.
And he got a lot of flack for it at the time.
Well, he's going to get flack because it was disrupted. Like, there's nothing that's ever disrupted a system and everybody goes like, okay, that's perfectly fine. Except maybe Apple and music, but that's a whole other story and they were stupid to do it. But no disruptor is met with the welcome mat. Right.
And he was doing the live stream concerts, Glam Slam, Minneapolis, and he was having a dance crew in LA and another dance crew in Miami Beach. And they're doing the first ever live stream concert, but then it's like Warner Brothers a few months later is saying Red Hot Chili Peppers are doing it. I'm like, wait, Prince already did it.
Yeah.
He wasn't even getting the props that he was getting. He was far ahead, whether it came to fighting for masters, putting his music on the internet, selling Crystal Ball, even though, there were a lot of bumps down that road. But when you're the first person to do it,
there's always going to be bumps. There's always going to be bumps when you're the first. When you're the pioneer, that's the thing. You're the one that breaks all of the ground. You're the one that,
right?
They call it trailblazer because you're the person who's going through woods where there's nothing there except woods, and you're the one making the trail. You're the one that has to cut down the trees, decide where it's going to go. Yeah, you may go in the wrong direction the first time. Something may take a spike off to the right, but you're trailblazer. Remember what that's about. That describes Prince.
Absolutely. Now, then of course, because I want us to get through the good things, so we'll just get through this. Last time we saw him in New York, but you said that was like with a band. When was the last time you saw him? Period. Whether it was performing or whatnot.
Let's see. There's Artifact Alert.
Okay. Paramount Theater Oakland. You were at that show.
I was at both of those shows, sir.
Right.
The top ticket is for the 7 p.m.
Bottom
ticket is for the 10 p.m. show. Two nights at Paramount Theater. It was the same night as the Oscars, and I had a choice that night. I had a choice that night of trying to go to the Oscars or take the trip north an hour to go see Prince in Oakland. And it wasn't really a choice. It was never where you get to see Prince live, you see Prince live.
Right.
Chris Rock was hosting the Oscars that year. I remember. You got to remember, Chris Rock was hosting the Oscars that year. Look, it was, I'd never seen piano. I'd seen him, he'd done piano and just a microphone in the middle of some of his concerts, but I'd never seen a full concert of piano and microphone, let alone two in the same night. And it just cemented his place as one of the finest musicians / performers of all time. He started off the 7:00 show. I'm gonna miss some of it, but talking about his father and Vanity, who had recently or somewhat recently passed.
Yeah.
And he talked about how his father was his best friend. But there was some other stuff he was talking about. I'm like, wow, he's in a very low. I used the word twice in 15 minutes. But he's in a very loquacious mood tonight. He's a very talkative mood. And then proceeded to bang out, some of his greatest and some of his lesser known. Favorites of my night was "I Love You, But I Don't Trust You Anymore." Controversy, and there's another up tempo that had an amazing riff that evening, but I forget. But you want to ask me anything about those shows?
Denise passed away the first night of the Australia tour show, and then that weekend was Denise's funeral, Bandy's funeral. And so you had at that show, I don't know if you ran into him, but Apollonia was there, Jill was there, Susan Lindsay. They were all there because they were already there for Denise's funeral, which I believe was on Saturday. So this show was on Sunday,
Right.
you know, so it was probably even more emotional.
I'm
for
sure.
Prince.
I'm sure.
But
It felt, I mean, it felt, especially the 7 o'clock show. The 10 o'clock show, not as much, but the 7 o'clock show, it really felt that at the very, very beginning. It's funny, I have a recording of that show that I've been meaning to listen to, and I have not listened to in a while.
right.
Nah. So,
I mean,
well, I got a recording of that show actually from somebody who was very, very high up in the music industry, who I wrote a whole essay on. Did we talk about Amy Winehouse and Prince, or did we talked about that?
a little bit, but let's delve into it more because we felt
that was the last day of the 21 Nights tour in
London.
In London.
Okay.
And Amy Winehouse was there. All right, I'll go back. Okay, so Amy Winehouse was at the show, and at backstage, having a conversation with Amy Winehouse. My friend Ashley, called my road dog. He is my guy. He's a Prince fanatic like I am. And so we went over to London to see the show, and we had seen Amy Winehouse at Bowery Ballroom earlier that year. So we would go up to her and say, like, "Oh my gosh, really enjoyed your show," and she could not have been more kind, more lucid, and everything else. We had a great conversation. Then one of the guys she works with was around, and it was fine. So that happened. Literally about 45 minutes later, it's me and my friend Ashley, and then Amy Winehouse comes back, and she's on a completely different planet. It's me, Amy, Ashley, my friend, and then one other guy. 2 other guys. The person she was working with, and then one other guy. And then she acts crazy, and then she walks away. And the other guy was like, "You're going to take care of her, right? Like, you're going to take care of her, right?" And that guy was Prince. And Prince was like, we've seen what this does. Don't let this happen. Take care of her. And then they did an amazing rendition. He opened up his show at the O2 of "Love's a Losing Game," where he starts playing it. It's on YouTube. You can see it. And he encourages the crowd at the end of the show. I don't know if this made the tape, but I'm like, "You got to take care of her. You've got to take care of Amy Winehouse." And of course, we all know what happened. Which was woefully unfortunate. And then, that night in 2016, the end of the first show was Venus de Milo. I always get them wrong. Alexa de Paris or Venus de Milo is the end of side one of Parade. It's Venus de Milo, right? Yeah. And Venus de Milo was the last song he played at the end of the first show. And I'll never forget, he hit that last note, and he looked, and he pimp walked off stage. And I was like, that's a dude. And so after that show, remember the Oscars are that night. Oscars are that night. And so that show ended probably call it about 9:30 or so, 9 to 9:30. And I'm walking out, and I get my little Slingbox device, and so I'm watching the end of the Oscars. And Chris Rock says, "Thank you very much for coming through tonight. See you at the BET Awards." And so, like, I'm thrilled. Like, he announced the BET Awards on the Oscars. Like, way to go, Chris. And we're in the Prince show, and me and Ashley are high-fiving each other. And what we never realized in that moment is that the BET Awards show that he was talking about would be a de facto memorial for the man we were there in Oakland seeing that night.
And who would have thought? Because look, I heard soundboard recording of the Atlanta show at Paisley Park the weekend before he passed away, when they flew me out there. His voice, so I'm sure at Paramount it was still on point. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be thinking a few months later he wouldn't be here anymore.
No. There was never any. Look, there was never.
I know this is tough.
Look, there was never any thought of that. It's funny, when I was really young, because I was a Michael Jackson fan. I was a Jackson 5 fan from the very, very beginning. I remember thinking, like, oh my God, there's going to be one. I remember thinking there's going to be one day when Michael Jackson dies. Right? I literally, like, I'm not a morbid guy, but I remember thinking that when I was younger, like, everybody dies. As soon as I got a hold of the concept of everybody dies. Everybody dies. I was like, shoot, that means Michael Jackson's going to die one day. And when he died, I remember flashing back to that. I had no such reference point for Prince. Right? And I'm not, I got a little bit. So I found out that that Prince died almost the exact same way I found out that Michael Jackson died.
Yeah.
When Michael Jackson died, I was in a meeting with a lot of people that I work with. AJ Calloway called me. AJ, who used to host 106 in Park, calls me and said, "Did you hear the news?" I'm like, "What?" They say that Michael Jackson has gone into cardiac arrest. What do you mean? Cardiac arrest. I'm literally in a room with a bunch of people that I work with when I get this call. And so we try to find out more information to find out it's true. Literally, was it April of 2016? I'm in a room with all of the senior staff of BET and these awesome young folks who are presenting these great ideas. I get a call in, and AJ used to block his number. So literally, there are 3 people in my world who had no number on the phone. Just it. One is AJ, one is Mariah Carey, and the other one is my best friend Kevin from 9th grade. Like, those are the only 3 people who were like, no number comes up. So I knew it was one of those 3, so I picked it up. And it was AJ, and he's like, "Did you hear?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Prince died." I'm like, "No, he didn't." And then we found out more information. And literally, I was the one who called his manager at the time, Manny, and let him know. So AJ knew before Manny. Anyhow, look, I had no reference point. I had no reference point at all for like Prince not being on this earth. So I'm gonna wait for a question.
Now, when you heard about the plane going down the week prior after the Atlanta show, what were your thoughts when you heard about Prince's plane going down? Because we didn't find out till like maybe 14, 15 hours later about it happening, and then radio stations in the Bay Area were calling me about it.
So I didn't know the extent of the challenges around that plane when it went down, when he had to land.
Yeah.
I found out later how dire that situation was. I found out even later there was a much more dire situation earlier in his existence around that. I will be a person who told,
Right. So
look, when people tell me, when I ask people who killed Michael Jackson, literally only one person who has ever, to me, gotten the right answer. I ask that question all the time. It's like, is it a doctor? No. Is it? No. The person who killed Michael Jackson was the guy who pushed the button 3/4 of a second too early and burned his hair in the 1984 Pepsi commercial.
Yeah.
Everything that happened to Michael Jackson after that was a result of the technician who pushed the button 3/4 of a second too early and caught his hair on fire, which gave you the painkillers. Have you ever burned your finger? Jeremiah, have you ever burned your finger? And that it hurts, doesn't it? So imagine, and it's on YouTube. If you Google Michael Jackson burning his hair, you can see his whole head is aflame, right? So imagine 3rd-degree burns. When you burn your fingers enough, your whole entire scalp is burned. The pain behind that is transformative. And everyone knows that painkillers are things that keep saying, "Come to Papa, come to Papa," right? So, in case you didn't know, and most people you probably do, Prince had problems with his hip. I don't think it's not a secret. The parts that are secret, but he had challenges with his hip when he was alive. He also had challenges with getting an operation on that hip because of his beliefs. Because Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in getting blood transfusions. As I understand it, I could have it wrong. I could be short. I could be just kind of shortlining that. But my point is, he had to deal with the pain of his hip for a while. I had dinner at his house once where he walked down the hall, and I'm like, my eyes flashed back to the parade tour where he's jumping off the thing, touching his foot, where I can't even do it, touching his foot with his hand, and coming down and going like, that's good. You do that in heels long enough, I get it. Right. And so the pain, anybody who's had a hip replacement will tell you the pain is like that. So, these are the things that have to happen. These are the things that happen. So all that to say,
yeah. Even though
it's a tough time. It's not about abuse. It's about trying to manage pain. It's about big pharma trying to find ways to have you manage pain that get you hooked.
Right. Even though like he did eventually have it. I believe it was in late 2009. It was after
I wasn't going to say it.
But yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say is because I see people talking about it in the room, but like, look, when they did the autopsy, there was a cut. So he did have it, but we don't know if he had more complications from it. We don't know stuff because of how private he was being. But yes, he was in pain for a while and dealing with it. And I do believe, this is my belief on it, is that, the God that, say, Prince believed in 1985, where when he was afraid to fly on the plane, was a different God than Prince believed later in life, which was a fearing God instead of a loving God. It's just different things. But I do believe that's one of the reasons he did delay it, was because of the religion. And yes, there is a different version of it. But yes, the main hip replacement surgery that's more successful or more known is the blood transfusion one. So that was not an option for him at all.
Yeah.
100%. So then, you hear that Princess passed in another meeting you're in, then you're dealing with this stuff.
It's another meeting, and AJ Calloway is the person that called me.
Right.
He's the one. Hey, what's going on?
I
immediately knew we had to do something that night. Look, the only reason I made it through, and I've said this a number of times, the only thing that got me through that night is that I assigned myself to host the show that BET ran that night. I knew I wouldn't need a script. I knew I wouldn't need any kind of guidance. I knew, and that's not to take away from the people who produced that show, who were monsters in producing that show. Rick Grimes and his crew were amazing in the production of that show and getting things together. I still actually have in a short period of time, we made pillows that had Prince's face on it. One of which I still have in that room back there. But it was, look, the word cathartic was created for what happened with me the night that Prince passed. And I was able to share the joy and love of his music on air at BET, on BET. And I'll never stop thanking Deborah Lee, who was running BET at the time, for allowing me to do that. Like, I still believe I was the best person to do it on short notice. But you don't always want your executives all up in the video dancing. So some people will get that reference.
I should.
And you're one of them. So that was, it was really, that's the thing that got me through that specific day. That specific day, I was just, look, the fact that, and it's still to this day, that I don't get to enjoy the anticipation of seeing a Prince show again, right? That I don't get to enjoy the anticipation of seeing a Prince show again is one of my biggest losses. It is likely the biggest non-person loss of my life, because I enjoyed it over, hundreds of shows. I stopped counting at 50 in 1993. Like, I stopped counting.
It was tough. Yeah.
So, yeah. What was the day like for you? You've probably said this before. What was the day like for you?
There was someone who hit me up earlier that morning that they talk with him every Thursday morning, and they weren't able to reach him. So kind of asked someone who bikes, hey, how far are you from Paisley? And she's like, about 20 minutes away. I'm like, can you just go by there? Just think something's up. she was there within 10 minutes and sends me photos of like police and paramedics just entering the gates of Paisley. I'm like, oh crap. Then I'm trying to reach someone else who will remain nameless. And they were kind of like, what's going on? I think they knew what was going on. They were just denying it. And then here it is, an 818 number on my phone. And I pick up and it's Harvey Levin from TMZ. Jeremiah, this is Harvey. We're hearing that there's a body that's been found at Paisley. We hear it's Prince's. Can you confirm it? And I'm like, I'm not confirming nothing right now. He's like, all right, if we don't hear back from you within 10 minutes, we're going live with the story on TMZ. I called the number that I called earlier, and then they sent it to voicemail. And I went, it's true. Because they would have picked up or they would have denied it. And then I had a choice. Do I go on my own website? Do I go on my own social media accounts? I broke in concert news, posted new music, posted new photos, all this stuff. And I went, you know what? I don't care to break this news first. There are people like Nika Costa and other people that are hitting me up privately. I let them know, but publicly, I just waited till there was an official announcement that wasn't TMZ and put it out there. But the whole thing is like, I was just saying to myself, I was just there. So it was just surprising, couldn't believe it. And then we were just kind of in shock, and people were calling you up to do interviews, and you're hitting up, former managers, what should I do? And they're like, look, he trusted you. You need to go on there because if they choose other people, they may say things that are untrue. So that's what I did. But it was difficult. Then the next day you had ABC News at my place, and then that's when the whole drug question started, and I refused to answer it. So they didn't even put my segment on there because I wouldn't even go there with it. But it was just weird and tough. And then every single day there was more and more stuff coming out. You didn't know what was true, what wasn't true. Yeah. And it was just insane. Now, then you have, before the BET Awards, you have the Billboard Awards. And then here.
Wait. Okay. So I'm not. Yeah. Give me a breath. Because it really, like, I haven't recounted this. Likely, I don't think at all. Ever. I mean, we knew immediately what the BET Awards had to be. We knew immediately. That we had to get something on that night, and I'm really still proud. Even though I've never watched the show that I did the night that he passed. Never watched it. I'm proud of what we did, but people who watched it gave us great feedback. And we knew what the BET Awards in that June was going to be in April. Okay, I'm sorry. And in May, so yes. In May, the company that I'm currently working with right now produced the Billboard Music Awards. And the tribute, I'm going to miss something. They announced that Madonna was going to be part of the tribute, and Stevie Wonder was going to be part of the tribute. And then I kept waiting. Like, what else is going to be? And I was like, that's going to be sub-satisfying. Right? So remember, we did you can say what you want to about our tribute for Michael Jackson. I hate bringing back, but Michael Jackson is literally the closest that can beat this, right? You can say what you want about the Michael Jackson tribute that BET Awards did, but we had 3 days.
Yeah.
Michael passed on Thursday, and on Sunday, we did a show where New Edition, who hadn't performed together in a couple of years, we reunited them to do. Oh, there's a whole nother story behind that.
Go for it.
We reunited them to do. We had a decision to make. Jamie Foxx is the host of the show, and by the way, Jamie Foxx can host any show I ever want to because we got so lucky that he was already hosting the show. No other host, I think, could have pivoted and has been as passionate about it as the way Jamie did that night in 2009. So I'll be sure about that. We had a choice. We had a choice between there was one faction of our production crew that's like, let's start with something like I'll Be There and something really down, kind of like tributey and will draw tears. And there's another faction that was like, we need to establish immediately that this is a party and celebration of Michael Jackson's life. And hence the opening with New Edition with the Jackson 5 medley from the 1981 concert tour, right? That's basically what that was. My point being, Sierra, Michael, Neo, I'm forgetting all the people, and I apologize. But 3 days we had to turn that around. 3 days. So it was over a month for that award show we talked about before. It's been done it, and I was like, this is just not gonna. I'm concerned, and right. So I won't go into too much detail, but there was a. I was like, so maybe we have an opportunity here because we know what it could be. And if it is, we can use that as, when Apollo 13 lost all its energy, it shot around the moon to get the gravitational pull to go back to the Earth. I'm like, we can use what's going to happen for this as gravitational pull to shoot towards our show that's happening in late June. And so the tribute happened. I have a picture of myself with Stevie Wonder in the dressing room that night because I let him know before this happened. I was like, bruh, I need you to know two things. Number one, we need you to be part of our Prince tribute. And two, when what comes out, it's not going to be about you. It's going to be about you had this time and this is what you chose to do for this icon of a legend. So the tribute happened. I'm not going to say anything else more about it, but you can see me in the audience. There's literally a shot of me in the audience. You can find that if you find it on YouTube. Shot of me in the audience looking like. And when it happened, we had preordained. I think it was something like, "Yeah, we saw that. Don't worry, we got you." BET Awards in June.
Came out crazy quick.
It came out crazy quick. It came out because it was.
Since you won't say it,
I forgot about that, Michelle. Mimi, I forgot about that. Anyhow. My point was, and I probably wouldn't do it now with my grown self, but
I'm glad
it was really just a way to pull. Look, we used to pull attention to what we were going to do in June. That was really the thing. It was marketing more than anything else. But it was, for real Prince fans, it was self-satisfying.
They had time. Here he had Thursday, April 21st, he passes. Saturday Night Live on April 23rd as Jimmy Fallon do a special tribute, and it's Good Night, My Sweet Prince. They are all the Prince performances he did on Saturday Night Live, including footage that they had from the 40th anniversary party. Dearly inebriated. It was hilarious. And of course, they did other Fred Armisen skits to take up the rest of the time. But all those performances were awesome. Then, later on in the week, Jimmy Fallon had D'Angelo with Princess backing him up, Maya Rudolph, and Gretchen Lieberman. Sometimes It Snows in April. Oh, my God.
Yeah. All these great solemn tributes.
And then Billboard. No disrespect, it just wasn't the right choice, perhaps maybe not the right person, right choice of song. Now, here it was, you guys were thinking of doing something upbeat for Michael, and they went with something a little bit more somber.
Well, there's so many artists who were influenced by, and I get it, you want to be the big pop show, but I just thought maybe have someone who Princess that is big enough to have, like, get somebody who's associated with and really down with to get it done. And,
Right.
perhaps, the relationship between Stevie and Prince were always solid, but perhaps the relationship between the other two wasn't always as solid. Wasn't always solid. There was some love hate. They did obviously the love song together, but there was some tension. Yeah. The point being, I had a really good friend who was in Madonna's camp who thought I was taking that shot at her. And I was really taking if there was a shot to be made that our network was doing, it was really, again, it was more marketing than anything else. It really was the overall, like, yeah, there could have been more people on there. It wasn't a hate against any particular artist that was on there. It's just like, he deserved more than what was there. And that was purely my opinion. The network's opinion. Again, it was really just marketing to get people to look at our June show. But I had a good friend who was in Madonna's camp who literally that night I saw in a restaurant. I was like, "Oh, hey, Emmett," and I got stiff armed, like Heisman in a way that I wasn't ready for. Anyhow,
and then I saw you at the memorial service in LA, that Manuela and Maite. And then I didn't really say too much to you. We were a little bit sad. I'm like, you got him, right? You were just like, yeah. And that was it. You didn't need me to say anything more. And I just went, I just said the Madonna, and I just looked away, and that's all. We didn't even need to talk further about it.
No.
But,
and I never, at no point in time, and I'll share a story that I haven't shared before about putting that show together, but at no point in time did I doubt that we would have it, right? And I've mentioned this before. Look, I would rather have done neither of these two shows. I want to be very clear. I would have rather been involved with neither of these two shows. But if someone had to be involved with the shows that memorialized Michael and Prince.
Right. Gotcha. Now, was there stuff that didn't air on the BET Awards that you wanted to air, or anything any ideas that may?
Yes.
Let's go
so I'm going to forget, and I apologize. I'm going to apologize for, I'm not going to remember everybody who was on the Prince tribute, but the things I do remember is that it was so Questlove was instrumental in helping with this. He was instrumental in it. So D'Angelo was originally announced and booked for the show. I know I was sitting in a car on 127th when I got a call from Amir. He's like, it's just not going to happen. He's just not in a place where he can make it happen.
Right.
So we had designs for D'Angelo. That didn't happen. And Bilal, D'Angelo was like, Bilal can tear this up. I was like, Bilal was dope. We love the Bilal. We know he's in the tribe. And of course, Bilal did the beautiful ones and turned it all the way out. Full stop. He writhed on the ground, nailed some notes that weren't even in there. So check. Purple Rain, the beautiful ones. Check. Not the hit, but reference the time with a real artist who could really nail it. We didn't find some candy of the moment to do it. Check. Bilal, beautiful ones. I admit, one of my favorite songs of all time, and Amir's as well, Ballot of Dorothy Parker. It was during this time that I realized, no, that's the wrong way of putting it. Because usually when you do these tributes, you do like maybe a verse, chorus, and out, or make it somehow shorter than the song usually is. Amir was like, I'll never forget it saying this. You do realize that the Ballad of Dorothy Parker is just one long verse. There's no chorus. There's no refrain. There's no B section. I was like, you're right. It's just one long verse. I couldn't think of another song that was just one long verse. And so there's no real great place to cut Ballad of Dorothy Parker. But you want a real artist who has connection to Prince. And I had the good fortune of hanging out with that artist and Prince in Dallas, Texas in 2000. It had to be 2004, 2000. I think it was 2004 musicology tour. Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu, real artist, real singing, a real Prince song. Check.
Right.
Janelle Monáe, who we had do the Prince tribute in 2010, who, if you listened a while ago, I had the good fortune of talking to Prince about Janelle Monáe before Prince and Janelle Monáe even met.
Right.
Right? Where Prince was like, I wish she'd sing more jazz. I just wish she would sing more jazz. That's all. I just wish she'd sing more jazz. And then they, of course, they had a great working relationship, friendship, and everything else. Janelle probably was more torn up than anybody else. I mean, everybody was torn up, but like she was really torn up about it. And so when we were talking about putting together her set, we were talking about what songs she would do. She was like, Steven, I need you to trust me. I just need you to trust me. Okay. And then she decided to put on the assless pants. I remember if you remember this, she did a medley. I can't remember what songs they were, but they were the real poppy songs, right? So we had Ballot, Dorothy Park, we had Beautiful Ones, and Janelle Monáe did all the costumes and did all the real kind of pop songs. Like Raspberry Beret was part of it. I think Kiss may have been part of it. I forget what they were, but like she handled that. So Janelle Monáe, real artist who had a connection with Prince. Check. I've never said this out loud before. So for Purple Rain, Jeremiah, guess who I wanted? Guess who what the desire was for Purple Rain? Take a guess. Take a guess.
Do it.
No, take a guess. Take a guess.
Out of all the artists you can choose from,
I'm gonna give you a hint.
Yeah.
So as I said on a podcast before, he loved women's voices.
Yes. So Alicia Keys.
He loved women's voices.
Uh-huh.
The key part of that song. There's two key parts of that song. If you ask me, it's Prince's voice and Prince's guitar playing.
Guitar playing. Okay. Well,
so given those two hints, and I'm gonna check out see if I can go to chat. Given those two hints, the voice and the guitar playing, where might you have been able to find that in one person?
Are we talking about a male or female? Because we didn't have her.
No. Remember, female voice.
Female, yes.
He loves female voices and guitar player at the same time.
See, we didn't have her.
I wanted somebody who could kill that. I wanted to sing and kill that solo. I'm sorry. There's actually three choices. There was three choices. There was another person as well. I forgot about that until I just saw somebody put something up.
Well, her was around. Mariah Carey couldn't play guitar, or not like that. So could it be Mariah?
No.
I'm
looking up Wendy. Nope. Not Bonnie Rarity. Nope. Not her. Not Jesse Johnson. Not Susie Quattro. All right, we're going to come back to that one. One of the first things that came to mind was the thing that the Grammys did the February afterwards, and that was Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars was actually kind of the among the like the first people considering. And I want to start this. I want to go right now. Go to the end of the story. I think we got the best possible solution to this, because on execution it was a monster. But all right, nobody's got it so far. Not Sheryl Crow, not Judith Hill, not my girl India. Oh wait, John. It's Paul speaking. Are you there? John, are you there? Nope. All right, got anybody else? Yeah, should I just give it up?
You're thinking bass.
Right, so it's Bruno Mars, and Bruno Mars did exactly the thing that, like, when he did that. I thought Bruno Mars tribute was amazing on the Grammys. If you're into him, maybe you're not into him, but I think Bruno Mars is the closest thing to a Prince performer to come to prominence in the 21st century. Fight me. Who's better? Who's more proficient than Bruno Mars? To come to prominence in the 21st century, Beyonce is 20th century. What's that?
We're not talking about output. We're talking about performing and other
performance.
Stuff. Yes.
Performance. No, Bruno Mars was one. All right, let's see. Let me go back to it. Oh, wait, did somebody say it? No.
Brittany Howard.
Ladies and gentlemen, finally, Pam Weiss.
Alabama
Howard.
Howard.
Alabama Shakes. What I wanted Brittany Howard to sing. Now you can hear it in your head, can't you? You can hear it in your head now, can't you? You can hear it, can't you?
The beautiful one. She hasn't done Purple Rain before, but yes.
Can't you? Right? And when you can hear her play that guitar solo, right? Yeah. Alabama Shakes had not been on vacation for a year and a half, and June of 2016 was the month they had decided they had to all be on vacation. That was it.
And then Brittany in her concert, her last tour before everything that's happened, she was covering the breakdown in concert.
Oh, was she really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, no, so just that
would have been
Mimi, you got it, right? So you understand if Brittany Howard had rolled into Purple Rain, I don't think I've ever said this out loud. I may have said it on Loopers. Loopers may know about this. I forgot about that. I may have said that. But that they were on vacation. And so once I realized I'm not going to get we're not going to get the woman with the guitar, was like, let's just find the baddest voice out there. And we did. And it's on YouTube. And if you have not seen Jennifer Hudson do Purple Rain from the BET Awards 2016, do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor. And check that out. So, biggest anthem song of all time, done by one of the best voices of all time. Jennifer Hudson has one of the most dynamic voices of all time. One of the best songs of all time is Anthem. Check. We got the hits, we got the B side, we got everything else. And then I just love what Maxwell did. With the song that he wrote, and then he became his own. Nothing Compares to You, right? Maxwell in his sure shot falsetto and tenor, just took that song home, right? So it was a song he wrote. Originally gave it to. I'm fighting you, Pamela, on that. I'm not going to go into it, but I'm fighting you on that. And Maxwell did it that night. Check, right? The cool song that was originally done by the family, then Sinead O'Connor, then he took it over himself. Check. I tried to get him to do Pink Cashmere, by the way. I remember sitting in the Soho House trying to get him to do Pink Cashmere, and he wouldn't do it. I tried to get him to do Pink Cashmere. He wouldn't do it. And then finally, you're not going to beat the tribute that Sheila E. did. Now, I'm stunned that the show before us didn't bother to give. Hey, Sheila, guess what? Oh yeah, you want to do the Prince tribute with us? Oh, really? Nobody's like, hey, Sheila E. We'd love to ask, but we asked somebody else, like a virgin. Click. So look. So we had Sheila E. close it out and bring out the cloud guitar from the Love Sexy tour. She closed it with she did a Prince-like jam session and closed it out with the blue guitar from the jam session, and then we had a bunch of bunch of purple flowers fall from the sky.
Yeah, Maite.
I think Maite was there. And Mr. Hayes and a lot of his the MPG band was there. So if you're a real fan, you recognize the faces that were on stage with Sheila E. Jeremiah, I got to tell you, I've been really fortunate to have a lot of highs in my life. But the way I felt after that show, the way I felt that and the number of people who were in his camp that hit me after that show and said he would have been proud of that. Now I want to be very clear. I want to, because I'm saying I'm on this here, but this show doesn't happen without Jesse Collins, without Janae Rouzin, without Dion, without Connie Orlando, right? This show doesn't happen without a crew of people. I will fight each of them, and none of them will give me a fight to say that I was the most passionate Prince fan and wanting to make it come together. It doesn't happen without Amir, but I mentioned Amir earlier. It doesn't happen without Amir. So when I say like we do this, I need you to understand there's a crew of people. And when I talk about Jesse, Janae, and Dion, these are the same people who brought you the weekend at the Super Bowl earlier. The same people who brought you part of the Grammys. The same people who brought you the Oscars, right? And they cut their teeth on the good old BET Awards. So it was an all-star crew that put everything they had into making sure that Prince was tributed the correct way. All right, I'm talking too much. Sorry about that.
No, you had a story to tell, and there was no one else that could tell it. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
I wasn't working behind the scenes of it. It was just a lot of different stuff going on. Now, it's been 5 years. At some point, it doesn't feel like 5 years, but after last year, it seems like it's been 10 years.
It feels like a long time.
It's just crazy. And yes, we've been getting unreleased material and a bunch of other stuff. That's been great. And there's a problem that we're having to where they're putting out a lot of music and a lot of great stuff. But then you have, not to try to do a comparison, but the MJ estate, who doesn't do nearly as much as the Prince estate. Right. The numbers are so much more astronomical. Maybe it's because that Michael was more accessible for so much longer. But
yeah. Look, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Before I ask you.
I think I was really literally just going to say, like, I think Michael was more accessible as a pop star. Look, 5-year-olds can sing Billie Jean or Rock With You, right? There's something about Michael's voice, Quincy Jones's production, that just transcends time.
Right.
And Michael was a trailblazer in the way he performed, but his music felt like it was a slope. It was a slope up. Like every project, right? Prince was breaking form. Prince was breaking norms. Prince was lyrically. It took me 10 years to realize we have an argument about. I think I've said this on the show before. He's like he hated the song "Everybody in the Club Getting Tipsy." He hated that song, and it led us to a conversation about lyrics and nastiness and lyrics. Like, it's just too far. And it was the time I decided, like, okay, I can't just listen to this. I gotta go. I was like, yeah, but you started this. Like, this was you. Like, you're the person who did. Like, this is why it's happening now. And he said, yeah, but I pioneered it. That's different. I was the first person to do it. Now everybody's just doing it behind me. And I was like, yeah, but you started. And I think I didn't realize in that moment, and for maybe even 10 years, the value of pioneering, right? The value of pioneering. And while I believe Michael Jackson pioneered many things in terms of dancing, mixing dancing with music, visuals, performance level, bringing Broadway to the, Michael was that. His songs actually were just kind of slopes up from what preceded it, right? No one can say that about Prince's music. Prince's music sounded different. Prince gave soul to what used to be a soulless drum machine. Prince had chord progressions that no one had ever seen. Prince put harmonies into pop music that theretofore never existed. Right? And so all that to say is, like, 5-year-olds understand Michael Jackson because it's harmonically right on, and his singing is in that spot, and it has great melodies that are not necessarily challenging all of the time. Rock With You is a lovely melody, one of the best melodies I think of all time, but it's not a challenging one.
Right.
If I was your girlfriend, is a thing. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Now, what can they do? Because, like I said, the Prince Estate is doing a lot and a lot of great stuff. You know, there's going to be some stuff that people don't like, and I hate the whole Prince wouldn't want this, Prince wouldn't want that crap discussions that go on. We could talk about that forever and other things and bring up stuff, but we won't get into it. What I want to know is what can the estate do?
Prince wouldn't want to be dead either, but he is.
Thank you. It's just ridiculous. I mean, they're trying to do, there's so much stuff that he did that if you were paying attention in 85, you would have been like, oh, Prince would have never done that. Prince would have never done an Oprah interview. Prince would have never done the Super Bowl. Prince would have never never been in an NBA courtside game. You talk about this, Prince would have never had an all-female band. Prince would have never done Coachella. Prince wouldn't be doing the BET Awards. That's a lie. But all this stuff that you put these things in that they don't understand that he wouldn't have done at one point in his career and ended up doing later. You know, he was constantly breaking stuff, and now it's hard to have that argument. So, with that being said, with the Prince Estate doing a lot, but the Michael numbers, the estate is not, they're not doing a lot, but they're astronomical how much more they're selling, how much more they're able to do. What do you think the Prince Estate could do? And I know it's about, we got to get the younger generation in. You know, the fans are getting older. How do we open Prince up to a new generation at the same time, make people's eyes open to the brilliance of what he was, that they're not sleeping on him as much and as
you got it
brought.
I would have said again. It's not. I don't think it's going to happen because Prince was too complicated. Like Prince's music is too. It's not simple. It's not easy. Like I believe in the same way I believe Michael Jackson. I don't mean as disrespectful. I mean Michael Jackson is someone you hum along to almost every single one of his songs. Right? He's got visuals that are appealing and alluring, and the black and white videos like dancing and and the Motown 25 and Prince is still, not everybody's comfortable playing a lot of their Prince songs around their young kids. Everybody's comfortable playing Wanna Be Starting Something. Everybody's comfortable playing Rock With You. Everybody's comfortable playing Don't Stop Till You Get Enough around youngsters. And so they hear it when they're 2 years old. We all know people who are sub 10 years old who can sing Michael Jackson lyrics. And I think that's a great thing. I think the challenge is, no 10-year-old is going to be singing Lady Cab Driver or Am I Black or White? Am I Straight or Gay? Like, it's just two different entities. Doesn't make one better than the other. And I think that the Prince Estate is doing a really good job of monetizing that which they have, right? And what they have is a vault. They have a vault full of music that they can bring out and attach it to stuff that we already love, right? I think Sign of the Times is as close to an awesome, and I admit Sign of the Times is my favorite album of all time. I think it's as close to as an awesome celebration of what existed while matching with stuff that he was doing during the time as anything, right? Michael had a limited amount of output, and so you're constantly kind of reselling the same songs, and they're easy to do that. It's easy to do that, but I don't. Prince didn't have that Michael Jackson roar over as long a period of time as Michael Jackson had that Michael Jackson roar. Right? Prince was from 84. His biggest was really 84, like 84 to 86, 87. I think I'm going to be clear. My favorite, is it time for me to change? I'm not going to change shirts.
All right.
Some of my favorite stuff.
Diamonds and Pearls, which is his second best-selling album, which a lot of people keep forgetting.
Yeah, you got to forget. Diamonds and Pearls I think Diamonds and Pearls was the number 2 song. It failed to make it to number 1.
Because of Right Said Fred.
Was it really Right Said Fred?
I'm Too Sexy prevented Diamonds and Pearls from hitting number one. It hit number one on the R&B charts, past Insatiable. But Right Said Frickin' Fred with I'm Too Sexy was what prevented Diamonds and Pearls from hitting number one.
So all that to say is like, look, Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson. It really started with Off the Wall, and then Thriller took it through, and then you had Bad, and then Dangerous, and then History. Mike was doing stadiums from 84 through 95.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I mean, and again, it's not about the musical quality, it's about the musical input, it's not about who was better. It's just what the world at the time was able to, was palatable to the world. That's all.
Right. Got to think about it.
Let me see who's dragging me for saying some stuff on that.
Who is?
No, I'm just saying who's dragging me.
It's all good.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Now, what would you like to see come out from the vault or whatnot that is there? Before we open up the questions to everyone to talk about anything from back in the day or whatnot, Stephen Hill, what would you like to see, at least from the vault, that is in there?
Journey to the Center of My Heart. Not even a question. You know that. We've said this before. His I want to hear a pristine version. What's that?
More than just one song, a project.
I want to hear Crystal Ball in its original form. Crystal Ball, the original Crystal Ball in its original form. That's what I want to hear. Got bootlegs, but there's something about missing the lows and the highs and missing the bass where it belongs that makes it less than satisfactory for me.
Okay.
I want I gotta have the original version of is it Days of Wild? The original Days of Wild, not the one he put on the other. I want the original Days of Wild.
The technique being sampled. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Hold on to your wings.
Yep.
Breakdown. This is a bug. How about you? What do you want to hear? What's the one? Not just the one thing that exists that you want to hear.
There's a lot, and there's some stuff I get in trouble with, so I can't. There's just a lot.
What that you can mention? Like we all got stuff.
I like to see more. I'll just put it this way without mentioning more of the videos that he shot that haven't been released.
Oh,
yeah. Those be put out.
So I'm sorry. The concert video. I want the original version of the Stockholm, Sweden video from 1986, which is currently, while I'm on the treadmill, changing my life. I am on the treadmill every day.
30 minutes.
I put the first 30 on, then I skip over the Do Me Baby part, and then I go to the last part. Changes my life on the treadmill every day.
Awesome.
But I have a blurry version.
Okay. Now let's get to the good stuff and other stuff that we haven't covered.
Questions?
Yes, because it seems like everyone wants to bring up a game sport and they want to do other stuff. So now here it is. We're opening up to you. We're opening up to you of what you guys want. I see people agreeing about, they want to know if there's an extended version of Adore. We heard there is, but then some people are saying no, that there isn't.
3121 movie. 3121 movie is one I want to see that too. I admit. 3121 movie. More live shows. I'm ready to argue that the Parade tour was better than the Purple Rain tour. I'm ready to have the argument.
I think so. Like, not to be arrogant,
but not as good as Love Sexy.
Right.
But not as good as Love Sexy.
And I wouldn't be saying arrogant, excuse me, but like Purple Rain tour was kind of like paint by numbers, and he got bored with it. I think with the Parade tour that they were challenging him, and he was challenging him, and that's why I think the tour was better.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the Revolution, because they were still the same band.
No, they weren't. But the Parade tour was as programmed as the Purple Rain tour. There wasn't a lot of variation to the Parade tour overall. Some nights went in different directions, but Purple Rain, I still felt when he was on the keyboards, he could go other places. He rarely did. But once the downbeat for Computer Blue started, I remember talking to the guy who promoted that show, Jeff Sharp. Jeff Sharp was like, yeah, all this stuff would happen. But once the downbeat for Computer Blue happened, like we knew exactly how much time there was to the end of the show. Or the end of the show before the encore, because he would stretch out. I would die for you.
And yes, with the Adore, Prince has said that there was an extended version, but the people that are going through the vault are saying that they haven't found it.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Here's another one.
Wait. Why would we want an extended version of Adore? That song is literally perfect as it is. Yeah. Some songs don't need an extended version. Anyway. All right, let's talk about our favorite extended versions while we're here. Another Love a Hole in Your Head with the horns in the breakdown.
Yes. Mountains.
So, extended versions we don't like, we're going to be honest with you. Paisley Park with all guitars. Not necessarily the greatest in the world. Paisley Park, extended, not the greatest.
What about Girl?
Kiss, great extended version.
Yes.
Pop Life. What's the matter with your sex?
It's 15
and miss your best. Again, you got to get it off your chest.
Yes.
All right, let's see what else. Housequake, Moquake. Nah, it's
Alphabet. Glam Slam. How about I Wish You Heaven?
Heaven, yeah. Heaven, sugar mama. Yes, we'll go with that one. His best, one of his best ones of all time. And Amir breaks down the difference in how he changed keys and everything else in this one. And I remember the deal, but I know he changed the drum. Little Red Corvette. Little Red Corvette is one of the best extended versions of all time.
Mayday. Now,
Mayday.
Someone asked this.
Yeah.
If you did have Prince Bootlegs, if you did, Stephen.
If I had Prince Bootlegs, yes. Okay, good.
If you did, and he knew, did he say anything to you about it? I know what he said to me, but what did he say to you?
I did. So my bootleg question, I never told him that I had bootlegs. Because I knew how he felt about bootlegs. I mistakenly told him that I found the instrumental stems to Papa Was a Rolling Stone once and how thrilled I was about it. And I'll never forget the look on his face. He was like, well, who got paid from that? You found that. That's great. You used it. Who got paid from it? I was like, oh, my dumb ass. Can we, I just have to mention Rapopgo the Zipper. I don't know why I need to. I feel like I need to mention that right now. Precious by Shark Tape jamming on the box. Just get precious by Shark Tape jamming on the box. Let me stop. Anyhow, all right. What are we talking about now?
And then, because when he talked about me, I brought it up because when he released Extra Level officially, people were upset that it wasn't close to the original version he recorded in 82, even though he's mentioning rape and other stuff. And he's like, they heard a version of it that they weren't supposed to hear. Now,
a version of what?
Extra Level. The original 83.
Oh, yeah.
82, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then when he released it, I'm like, yeah, people are upset about that in the original, but I know that you couldn't do it. And he's all like, they heard a version they weren't supposed to hear, and they're upset at me over that.
Yeah.
So, because he's all like, if Extra Level, if any other artist of today would release that, would be a hit, but because it's me, it won't be a hit.
Yeah. There was ages, and there always is going to be ages. Oh, shout out to Kim Bellantoni and Chowderico. I'm so sorry I butchered your name. You know who you are. Revolver Records in NYC was the bomb. Revolver Records had all of the bootlegs. I would spend Saturdays and Sundays in there, and I, like you, Kim, spent thousands of dollars in Revolver Records. Yes. Shout to you, Kim. Wait a minute. Kim Bellantoni Charico. I'm so sorry I butchered that name. It feels like it's a great name, but I butchered. I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, Bleecker Bob's in Melrose, other places in Santa Barbara, Main Street. They got a lot of money. Aaron's Records, Santa Monica, just other Mayhem Records, Mayhem Music. But
Erotic City. How can we could Erotic City? Let's go crazy as tender. Yeah, Paul, you're right. Susan, with you. I love how scandalous goes. How
about another Lonely Christmas?
Nah, I was not. I can't lie. I was never a fan of that song. I was glad I had it.
What about Girl?
What's that?
Those are some that just.
Which one?
Girl.
Oh, love Girl. Love. No. Okay. Love all that. Oh, and Hello. Hello extended is the ish.
What about La 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 He?
Yes. And what I Would Die for You, the live version from what I believe is Landover, Maryland. I could be wrong about that.
Let's see. Nikki's talking about as well. Arms of Orion. There wasn't like an
extended. So no. If someone put did somebody mention Arms of Orion?
Yes, and I know that's going to have to go off. Go for it.
No. I'm going to tell you why. I can tell you that right now. Whoever mentioned Arms of Orion, it was either Pammy, KRS, or someone named Crazy. It was one of those three mentioned Arms of Orion because in my show that I do on Instagram Live on Thursday. Yep, I said Pammy, KRS, or Crazy. It was Pammy. Because I have a thing for Arms of Orion. I love Arms of Orion. And people tell me that is the wackest Prince song ever. Yep. Right? And so I like it. So when I play it, they make fun of me. So I knew with anybody who mentions Arms of Orion, I'm like, you got to be a looper player. You got to be a looper. Mimi, it could have been you too. V-Chan can as well. Anyhow. All right, I'm sorry. Any questions? I'm sorry. I'm so happy to be here talking about Prince. You don't understand.
They're like, although it wasn't officially released because there was the I Would Die for You 10-minute, but there was a 30-minute version there is, although that's an unreleased version of it, unreleased cut. There is a 30-minute version of that.
Which one?
I Would Die for You. There was a 10-minute version that was.
I thought it was released.
A 10-minute version of it was, yes. But there's a full 30-minute version that's circulating from the same session.
Oh, okay. Cool.
They edited it down.
I had the good fortune of seeing the Purple Rain tour. I saw the Philadelphia when we started with America. He decided I want to start with a song that's not out yet. The people like, wait, what? We know it starts with Let's Go Crazy. Like, nope. I want to play behind the stage, America. I'm gonna do it. Fine. Right. And then I saw it in Worcester, Massachusetts, the 2 days before the Syracuse one that everybody does.
And here you go. You mentioned America. Maybe she thought you were saying Welcome to America, but Shelby J is
Shelby! There is no other to compare to you. Look, player. Listen, Baby Love is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's done by the group Mother's Finest from the year, call it 1977. But when Shelby J raps those lips and vocal cords around the song Baby Love, originally done by Joyce Kennedy with Mother's Finest, ain't nothing finer than when there is no other to compare to you. You got me. Anyhow, Shelby, I love you. You know that to be true.
One of my favorite moments of Shelby's, not including Super Bowl, not including all this other stuff, was First Avenue, 777. First Avenue, where Prince, Purple Rain, all this stuff. Love Changes. Prince and Shelby J doing Love Changes. And I am so glad that I have a recording of that show that I shouldn't be having. But
no, good. Well, it's good. It's good to know what my fee for doing your show is going to be. Oh, that's fantastic! It's good to know what my fee for doing your show 3 times is.
There you go. We have to you Love Changes. But an amazing that performance, the guitar playing, her vocals, their duet, amazing. Yes.
Shelby
amazing.
Shelby is I'm not saying this because you're here. I always felt like Prince enjoyed when Shelby was singing especially at the after shows. The after shows is where, like, I talked about this. I talked about the con show. Shelby, I don't know if you were on when I was talking about the con show, 2010. You did both Baby Love and Brown Skin. And there was just always this thrill on Prince's face when you sang. Now I also just loved your face when you were sitting next to him at the BET Awards in 2010 too. So anyhow, the love is real.
That face.
And Shelby was on the D'Angelo Voodoo tour as well. Now, outside of a Prince tour, the Voodoo tour was one of the baddest tours ever to hit the boards. Talk to him. Talk to him, Shelby. Let them know. The disciple was almost as good as the teacher on the Voodoo tour. Yeah, I said it.
Yes, and we can't wait to have Shelby on closer to the release of Welcome to America. 100%, but always glad where she can join us. She's been recording all night tonight, so she was like, I'm going to get in here. I'm going to take a little bit of a break and join Jay and Steven, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Shelby. So.
There is no other to compare to you. Let me stop. That's one right there. That's one right there. That's one right there. Yeah. Any questions? Any other questions, sir?
Of course there's going to be. We'll get to it.
We mentioned Erotic City. Right?
People brought up 17 Days. I know you were talking about extended versions, though. 17 Days is a great B-side. Don't get me wrong.
Which one is?
There's an extended 17 Days, but that's not extended. Although there's supposedly a version of it that's extended.
I've never heard that one. That's not a.
Right. So, All Day, All Night, is there an extended version? We'll find out. We'll be getting that in 2024, I'm sure. They'll get the Purple Rain Special Edition Super Deluxe. That'll be sent. Let's ask questions that Steven will know.
Pammy, yes, I have gone to see Prince's exhibition at the museum in Nashville. I went on a preview. I'm actually on the board of that, and I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really, really well done and dignified, and I wish there were a little bit. I'm looking forward to there being a bit more, but it's kind of awesome.
This is the National Museum of African American Music in Nashville.
Oh, wait, yo, have you heard? Are you familiar with the session IG Live? The guy who has all the stems for Let's Go Crazy. Player, this dude, Christian James Hand. Somebody will get us in the chat. Is the session IG Live on IG, dude? Somehow he's tapped into all of the stems, right. Literally the stems from all these songs. He has Phil Collins and Michael Jackson and like Nine Inch Nails, and he has the stems for Let's Go Crazy. He has the vocals isolated for this. He has the unused guitar solo at the end of Let's Go Crazy. Jeremiah, me and you, we're good at this, but he has the stems for the long version of Let's Go Crazy. And what you need to understand is, what I didn't know until he played them, is that doom 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 doom. In the middle of that, there's actually a vocal where he does the whole "Dearly Beloved, we are gathered here today, get to this thing called life," and he does it in a different way through that thing.
Right.
I don't know. You've heard it before or no?
I may have, but it's not something that I've heard multiple times so I could be so familiar with it. Here's a question. I know that you haven't been. You haven't been a speaker yet at the celebration of Paisley. Would you like to be in the future, and has it ever been discussed?
One more time. What's that?
Being a speaker at Paisley or being on the panel during the celebrations. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Anybody wants to reach out to me, DM me. I would gladly do anything that celebrates the music of Prince, I would do without a challenge at all.
Nikki wants to
that's
know,
real.
what do you think of the Black Album?
Say that again?
Nikki wants to know what you think of the Black Album.
I love everything about the Black Album. The short version for those who I went to go see the Love Sexy tour when it was in London. Before it came to the States, it was in the U.S. And the Black Album was like this myth, this thing. So I go to Wembley Arena with my friend Kevin, who's been my best friend since 9th grade. Go to Wembley Arena and come and we're leaving Wembley Arena. Love Sex tour, fantastic. And it's like dudes little in the corner, like, yo, got the Black Album on cassette tape. Got that Black Album on cassette tape. Yo, got the Black Album on cassette tape. I was like, wait, what? He said, £5. I can't do an English accent, so I'm not gonna try. £5. And I was like, Kevin, I need £5 right now. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, trust me, I need this cassette tape. And that's where I bought. In July of '88 is when I bought my first cassette tape of the Black Album. And it is still to this day one of my favorite funky albums. I think, look, you try to get on the treadmill with Cindy C and Dan on it and I can't think of the name of what's the name of the first song?
The Grind. Yeah, try to stay still. God dare you. But what I didn't have, it was, until I got the CD version, was the very end of the CD where he says, what kind of fuck version was that? what kind of fuck version was that? So I had the whole, it was a great print of the Black Album that I got in July of '88 from some dude on the corner in London, but without the what kind of fuck version was that? Now people are asking, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite album?
Favorite album is easy. Sign of the Times is my favorite album of all time. Sign of the Times is my favorite. It's not my favorite Prince album. It's my favorite album of all time. My favorite song, it changes, I admit, throughout the years, right? So when I interviewed him in 2004, it was Adore, which is why I have asked him to play it every single time after that. Sometimes it's the song Love Sexy. I want to write my name on your wall. Pretty little Willa, you got me dripping all over the floor. If I come back as a woman, I want a body like yours. A body like yours. That shit right there. That's kind of fire. So anyhow, so it changed. The song, the favorite song changes every once in a while. Breakdown, Erotic City, are among them. Lady Cab Driver was my favorite Prince song for a very long period of time. But yeah, Arms of Orion, had to say that for the Loopers. Just had to say that for the Loopers. But yeah, look, he's got a couple of singles, and I love, if I could ever make the sound that he makes with the guitar at the end of. I can't wait to answer this question. Cody Breedlove, I'm going to answer your question in a moment. If I could ever make the sound that I could make at the end of 1999, if I ever find a way to make that sound on guitar, I will never leave the house. You will never see me again because I will be playing that for the rest of my life. Can you post Cody Breedlove's question?
Yes, I was going to ask you someone else's. We'll get that one first. There we go. Was Prince supposed to play the BET Awards in 2011? He was a seat filler, and someone told him the band was off-site rehearsing. So
I've never told this part of the story. It was 2010. It was the year we honored him, which I've said on this show before. Michael Jackson died in 2009. I think that was a lot, and I've heard after this that a lot of the reason that he let us tribute him in 2010 is because he was so devastated when Mike died in 2009. He's like, I'm going to allow these people who I know love me, tribute me, so I can say things that I want to say. So that being said, the band was absolutely on site rehearsing. I know that because when I tell stories of like I've been in crowds, I've been in places where I've seen Prince perform from 100,000 people to where I'm the only person in the room. It was during those rehearsals where I was the only non-band member in the room. So he was indeed rehearsing in 2010 for the award show. His band was sitting on stage. His band was ready to play in case he wanted to play. Shaka Khan was supposed to usher him to the left to go meet the band on stage. She took him to the right, and he kept moving. So the answer is yes. There was and I want to be clear. He always said, like, I may play, I may not, I may not, I may play, I may not. But we were clear that, like, Shaka was supposed to usher him to the left where his band was waiting on stage for him to play. And she ushered him off stage. And we lost that performance. So the answer is yes, in 2010. Corey, I love that question. Yeah.
And now, what about this one? From your interview from 2004 for the Musicology Tour, was there any footage that never aired?
Yes. Yes, 100%. It's funny. A while ago, beginning of pandemic, I actually meant to go chase that down, and I just never did. I probably will. I have a shout out to Sanaa Humry, who I was like, can you get a shot where we're both in it? He's like, nope. He wants a shot where it's just one camera's pointing at him, one camera's pointing at you, and she cheated one camera. And that's why you got the picture that you used for the last one where, like, I'm saying something, he's laughing. She cheated that camera so it would get us both in the same shot, right? He was fine with it. But yeah, so somewhere there's some stuff. We used all the best stuff. I want to be clear, we used all the best stuff, but somewhere there's stuff, and I haven't looked at my interview I did with him since he passed away. But somewhere I will find that, and one day I'll put it up. There's some Prince words that have never been seen on TV or any kind of medium, and the world decides. Mm-hmm. Watch out for Stephen Hill, and one day was that part in the? Did we leave that in the? Wait, when he says watch out for Stephen Hill, I didn't leave that one in there.
Nope.
Should I tell the story?
Go for it. We got time.
So we're interviewing, and I think I've said this to people before. I thought this part made the show, but it wouldn't make sense for it to make the show. And so he had been sitting there, and I think somebody from MTV interviewed him before, and I came and sat down, and we were friendly by then, and I had a suit and a tangerine shirt, and he was like, what you really need is like a tangerine scarf in your pocket. I was like, well, dang, but I don't have one. He said, you know what? I might be able to find one for you. And he talked to his stylist, like, can you find a tangerine thing? Can you say, no, he doesn't have one? He didn't, okay, cool. All right, but then we really look good with Tangerine Party Square. And so I'm like, okay, well, we start the interview. And of course, if you've seen the interview, it starts with, because they said you have a limited amount of time, so you should get in right away. Don't forget the pleasantries. And so they say, okay, ready, roll. I say, do you feel like you think, and he goes, you're supposed to introduce yourself. He just like breaks it. You're supposed to introduce yourself. I was like, oh yeah. Hi, my name is Stephen Hill, and your name is, and he wasn't expecting me to turn around on him. He's like, your name is, he goes, Prince. And that's how we started the interview. But in the interview, I asked him, what would you have told yourself? What would Prince have now told yourself 25 years ago? And his answer was, I would have said, watch out for Stephen Hill. Watch out for Stephen Hill and make sure he has a tangerine scarf because you have a tangerine scarf because he's gonna need it one day. And I don't know if that's in the interview or not. I thought we left it in the interview.
It's not. You had two that aired. There had one there, and there was another one at midnight. It was a little bit longer that had the thing where Prince said you're supposed to introduce yourself. I've seen that, but the part about the tangerine scarf, no.
It's not in there?
No.
Oh, yeah, because he ended up not answering the question. He didn't answer because it was all like, what would you tell yourself 25 years ago? He's like, I tell myself to watch out for Stephen Hill and have a tangerine scarf because he's gonna need it one day. And then my response was like, oh yeah, okay. You're supposed to introduce yourself.
That's someone wants.
But that was
This is
fun. Look, one of the things I'm proud of one of the things is if you type into YouTube best Prince interview ever, my shit comes up. Go ahead, you can try it. Type into YouTube best Prince interview ever. Now, recently, for some reason, about 3 months ago, they cut off all the comments, so you can't see the comments of people. And it wasn't me; I didn't do it. It's not my thing. But they cut off all the comments for some reason.
So lame. Someone asked this question. This is personal preference, of course. What is his? Here, let's put this one. What about most underrated or underappreciated album of his? Matt wants to know.
Old Friends for Sale.
And what about the entire album? Are you talking about the Vault Old Friends for Sale or the track?
Yeah, Vault Old Friends for Sale. That's
okay.
The one that's okay. Is that the one that has It's the Way She Walks? It's the way she.
It's about the walk.
It's about that walk.
Yeah.
What comes after?
Yeah, she spoke to me the longer version.
That one. And what was the one with Dinner with Dolores? What was what had Dinner with Dolores?
Chaos and Disorder. Chaos and Disorder.
I enjoy Chaos and Disorder, and of course, Come has Dark on it. So, you know, any album has Dark on it that just doesn't get played. It's a problem. Right. I can't believe what she spoke to me.
What's Steven's most precious memorabilia you have in your collection, aside from your memories?
Of Prince?
Yes.
So somewhere I have a purple flower that was dropped during the Purple Rain tour when they punch a higher floor and everything came out. So somewhere I have a purple flower. It may still be in my car. These are the purple flowers that we dropped after Sheila E.'s finale on the BT Awards 2016. Of course, this picture right here is, you know, the one I love with, because just when he came and said, like, I'm gonna play this bass in your face, right? Which I heard the same thing he said to Michael Jackson in Vegas. But the glee, he said, look, my best artifact is my memory, and as I said, is my memory of, he never made me feel bad about being a super fan, even though I was exec. Even though I was exec and we had to do business, he always allowed me to be like in the front and dancing, and made fun of me when I would sweat too much, and made fun of me, but in a jovial way, not a bad way. And look, my favorite artifacts are the people around him who, after he passed, said, like, he really enjoyed your energy. Right. And there's a lot of people who, you know, I wouldn't say we weren't close friends by any stretch, but like, it was really cool when we got to see each other. We had great conversations and things I'll never forget. But I'm glad that if I was ever able to bring the guy joy who brought me so much joy at any point in time, that's the best. That's kind of the best artifact, I would guess. You know, if it's you know, yeah. I mean, I have the tickets from the first time I ever saw Prince to, you know, as you saw, you know, the last time I ever saw Prince. So
Paramount, February 2016. And from YouTube, Dawn is asking, what was the best life or business advice he shared with you, aside from a tangerine scarf?
Don't be afraid to pioneer, and a lot of that was behind that whole is everybody in the club getting tipsy thing. Like pioneer, and no, there's no pioneer ever that didn't meet resistance. There's no pioneer ever that didn't meet resistance.
Gotcha. And Shelby,
I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate that. Stillhouse. That was absolutely, yes. We talked about Stillhouse last time. Shelby, I really appreciate you saying that. Like you don't understand. Anyhow, Stillhouse was the night after the BT Awards 2010, and you know, if he enjoyed what happened, he would go out and perform and put on a show for like It could be like 5 people, it could be 50 people, 500 people. And that Soho House, that Soho House was just, that was a Lionel Richie night, and it was just I appreciate that, Shelby. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, and he never made me feel stupid about it, because I never held back. Like I was never the cool guy in the front row. I was never the cool guy. Like if I'm up dancing, I'm up singing everything, I'm up air guitar, because he deserved the energy. He deserved the energy.
I remember Jamie Foxx, 1997, Love for Another show at the Pantages Theater. Jamie Foxx, living color success. Here he is, fourth row at the Prince show, and he's just too cool at that time. Hands in the pocket, standing up. Prince time, I get everyone clap their hands. And of course, sometimes with LA, it's just like a Paul McCartney thing.
Yeah.
He refused to do it, but by the time Musicology rolled around at 31:21, Jimmy Foxx didn't give a damn if anyone saw him. He was losing his shh. But he was too cool for school in 97, just like, I can't do it. I think maybe he was just afraid of looking him in his eyes that night.
Yeah, that's it. I can understand that as well. I can absolutely understand that as well. I can absolutely understand that as well. Look, he was, it's great to know that you were alive when it's more than a lifetime. It's more than a lifetime. Like there's literally no one else that we've ever been able to be around, like that could do the things that he did, and who pushed people the way they did, and assembled talent the way that he did. No one. So anyway.
For sure. And it's great that we lived in a time where we got to enjoy him so many times.
Yes.
You said you stopped counting in 93.
At 50. I stopped counting 93 at 50. It was 50 by 93. And then, like I said, the number of times I was fortunate enough to see him after shows, large shows, drove to Germany to see him when Duran Duran was his opening act. Yeah. And I said this at the beginning, and almost as much as I miss Prince shows, I miss the. But Shelby, thank you very much. Love always.
My dear.
You said, trust me, it resonates. I appreciate that. Almost as much as seeing Prince perform, I miss the anticipation of seeing Prince perform. I miss the 3 days before going like, oh my God, in 3 days I'm going to see Prince perform. 2 days before, like, it's only 48 hours till I see him get on stage.
You start doing a little happy dance.
Oh, yeah. And it
Sure.
was never, like literally never a time I took it for granted. Like I've seen a lot of stuff in my life. As a music lover, I'm the luckiest guy that I know. Literally. I have no problem saying the luckiest guy that I know. I've been to easily 10,000 shows. Easily. Easily.
Awesome.
And the anticipation of seeing a Prince show was special.
Yeah.
It was special.
Especially when it was last minute, so you didn't even have it. Like it was just, yes, you have it where you look forward to it 3 days away, but then you'll get the call. Can you be here about an hour or two? And literally you walk in the door and it's like, all right, he's here. Then he's taking that stuff was crazy. I love this question. Who do you think Prince would admire today in the next generation?
Bruno. I think he already admired, we knew he admired Janelle. We knew we could tell he admired Janelle. I think he would admire Bruno. He didn't like male vocals as much. I told the Luke James stories. He admired. He thought Luke James had a phenomenal voice. I think I haven't heard. He and Lizzo I'm not close to what he and Lizzo did in the past, but I really would like to believe that he was a Lizzo fan and supporter.
Yes.
And for to understand that he was in the Minneapolis scene.
Yes.
But other than that, there aren't that many. I mean, maybe you can name some that I can't think of. But it
Her.
feels.
Bring
Oh
it
yeah,
out.
yeah. I'm sorry. Her. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Absolutely her.
And there's just other artists as well that people would expect. Look, I know that she's not next generation,
Mhm.
but like I said, I admired what she did during COVID, and that's what made me a super fan. I really liked her before, but it became more. Although it's not my expertise in music, but I got to give it up to Taylor Swift just because of her creativity. She's not on Prince's level, don't get me wrong,
I'm good
but
with
what
that.
she does and her songwriting, that's where it's at. And I think that he'd be a fan of it. It's just like Joni Mitchell, who is the 50th anniversary today of Blue. And of course, the best Joni Mitchell cover of all time is A Case of You. Bar none. I don't give a damn what anyone says. But that's what I'm saying is to me, how Joni Mitchell was to certain men growing up, and the Prince, to Andre Simone and all them, that's what Taylor Swift is to me, and hopefully to a younger generation of men. And I know you can't speak on it, but that's for me, and I'm talking about next generation. That's definitely
No,
her.
no. I want to be clear. I am a Taylor Swift fan. You got a second? Can I go somewhere and get something? Come right back. I'll be right back.
I'll
talk.
Taylor Swift will lose followers. So, and we'll see some of these, but yeah, Taylor Swift and her songwriting. No one will ever be on Prince's level, but I admire what she's done. I admire that she's fighting for her masters. Me and Prince had a conversation about Scooter Braun before. I talked about Scooter. He didn't really say anything. So if anyone's expecting there to be him talking crap about Scooter Braun to me, that didn't happen, but we did talk about Scooter Braun. So, but yes, shirt changes or bringing shirts, most probably. It's a cardigan. I wear jardigans. Although it's supposed to be for women, like I can pull it off, surprisingly. And we'll just leave it at that. There you go. Is that Act 1? Oh no, that's Act 2. I'm seeing UK dates in there. That's Act 2. Barcelona, Spain.
Oh, I didn't see you there. I'm sorry. I didn't see you there as I was selecting my. I'm sorry. Is this the Act 1 shirt or the Act 2 shirt? I can't tell. Is this the Act 2 shirt? Is this the US shirt or the?
It's the UK shirt. It's the I see Sweden.
Yeah. So it's the it's the shot
my shirt still fits me too. My movement from 1993 still fits me too.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has the single best backstage experience I've ever experienced in my whole life. I took a college friend's 12-year-old daughter to go see, maybe it was the Red Tour, I forget what it was. So the backstage area, they put people in different places, like they separated people, and then Taylor Swift came to each person or each pot of people and made the youngest girl, whoever was there, feel like a star. Like, oh my God, I'm so glad to meet you. What do you do? How are you? And then, you want to ask me any questions? She was unbelievable. And then did something like, because, the girls were really nervous and like, oh my God. And she said, Taylor Swift said, do you mind if I take a picture with you? Playa, when she did that, I was a Taylor Swift fan for life. Also, my 12-year-old friend, my friend's 12-year-old girl made the shirt that said, I love Taylor Swift.
Do I see something up top of that? Is there like a signature?
And then she put,
what?
She signed Taylor loves Steven. I love Taylor Swift. Taylor loves Steven. Playa. So you will never hear me say the bad thing about Taylor Swift. She made my friend's 12-year-old daughter so happy that she's now like 22 years old and still talks about that day.
You have Olivia Rodrigo, who was a Taylor fan when she was tiny, just hit #1 on the charts.
Yeah.
With her album, Sour, Driver's License, Good for You, great album that just came out. And Taylor Swift was the inspiration for that, so she's already inspiring people.
Yeah.
I never.
You won't hear me say a bad thing. I think she's a little misguided on things he wanted to have happen, but other than that, it's all good.
As far as I'm aware, Well, I've never seen Taylor in concert, and I've never been in the same place with her at the same time, as far as I'm aware, although we may have been at some concerts. And then, just like I was saying about with Damaris Lewis, when I first met Damaris Lewis, the first thing I bring up.
Did I tell that story or no?
Well, you can talk about Damaris, but when I first met Damaris, I go, so what's up with your friend Kate? I was trying to holler at Damaris to have her talk to Kate up there for me. That shows the balls I have. Like Taylor Swift, I'm afraid it would be like, what's up? I know that she's got a man right now, so I would be respectful. But go ahead with your Damaris story so we can get off the Taylor.
Did I not tell the Damaris story?
I'm not certain.
Again, these years fly together. These years fly together.
And make sure to ask some more questions, you guys. But go ahead.
Please ask more questions.
Damaris.
But it was one of the after parties at he had 3 LA houses, and this was the last of them. This is the biggest of the LA houses, where the plexiglass was over the pool.
Yes.
Plexiglass was over the pool.
G7.
And so there's folks there, but they're just kind of moving around like nobody's dancing. And I love to dance. I look on the floor. I'm like, oh, this woman's getting it. And then again, sometimes I have moves that are sponsored by Ciroc. I'll be honest with you. I have moves that are sponsored by Ciroc. And I was like, I'm gonna go dance with her. And so we start dancing, and I think she's just happy to have a guy who likes to dance as opposed to like, here we go, yeah, 1999. So I'm doing my best moves. And so we're dancing. I'll never forget. Prince comes over. He comes over and goes, and walks out. And so anyhow, and I just think she's the coolest person. We exchanged information. And I'm like, oh, you're cool, blah, 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 blah. I'm in my office 3 weeks later. I didn't realize that she was a freaking Sports Illustrated supermodel.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. I just knew she was cool people. And so to this day, she's had so much great success. Those who don't know, Damaris Lewis is the person who would dance with Prince, like at the City Winery, like his last few years. The gorgeous, tall, very chocolate woman who was at his side at NBA All-Star games, who's really his muse for a lot of the last things of his life was Damaris Lewis. I had no idea they were connected. I just knew there was somebody dancing when that was happening. And now you can see. Oh, am I giving away? She is on a few TV shows, right? So you saw her in Black Klansman. She is in an upcoming TV show that involves superheroes, where she gets to wear purple. Like she sent me her outfit. I was like, "This is the greatest thing in the world." So anyhow, I just love the people. When anybody in his sphere finds success, and I know she was as devastated as all of us on, obviously more so in April of 2016. But Damaris Lewis is one of the most awesome people in the world, and I know who I'll be texting after the show.
Tell her I say hello.
I
can't wait to have her on one day. But do you remember the first thing that you would see? You went to 77 Beverly Park, right? Where you called it Club 77.
Yeah, that was the last of the 3 houses, right?
One of them, yes.
Yeah, so it was after the Carlos Boozer house.
Yes.
Yeah. That was yeah.
Do you remember, like, when you first walked in, what was one of the first things you saw? Was there like a rug with the symbol on it that said 77 around the sides of it?
I don't remember that because all I remember is walking down the side of the house, the long side of the house, and to the right. I just had a memory of that. A friend of mine got into a fight with his girlfriend that night, and I was like, "Okay, we gotta roll this out." Anyhow, that's not part of this. And then you walk in, the plexiglass is over the pool, and people are having a good time.
Yeah, and of course, Damaris also, yes, she's part of the Urban Decay makeup line that they launched for Prince last month.
Oh, cool! So, I didn't know that.
And then someone's asking, what was your favorite Prince show of all time? One specific night you were at. That's a tough one, man.
Okay, okay, do I get to split it between after shows and real shows? If I get to split between after shows and real shows, then this is going to be easy for me.
I'll decide. Yes. Do it so we can get two different answers. Yes. Regular shows and
the London Love Sexy show was probably the best show I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've seen a lot of shows. Love Sexy London was freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
A close second was the first night in Minneapolis Love Sexy tour in September of '88. Best after show, not even a question. You know what I'm gonna say?
The Rex.
The Rex, 1993. The Rex, 1993 was the best after show ever. I had never heard Pope. I had never heard Black Motherfuckers in the House. I had never heard Johnny. I had never heard all this stuff. Endorphin Machine. It was the first night I heard that what is one of my favorite songs. Oh yeah, that's Endorphin Machine is one of my favorite Prince songs as well. That makes the rotation as well. Yeah. So Rex, Paris, 1993, on a night where I should have been back out at Disneyland and I missed the last train, is the only reason I got to see that show. Whew, you got me. I love having this conversation with you because it just brings me back. It just brings me back. So those are my two favorites.
Awesome. And right now, because our first show was 3.5 hours, second one was just about an hour.
Because I had to
go the 2-hour mark, so we're hitting almost 6 hours of functifiedness that people that can be listening to the show or watching these shows all together. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah,
guys.
I hope I'm not boring anybody. I hope I'm not boring.
No, the viewers keep going up. It's absolutely ridiculous. The longer you're on, the more people we get in, which isn't exactly the case.
Look, I want to be clear. And loopers know this to be true. I'm not looking for numbers. I'm looking for passion. I'm not looking for numbers. Like if it's fewer people with more passion, I'm much more into that.
That's what I was getting
background
for weeks and for months after we did episode 1 with you. After we did part 1, that's all I was saying. Oh my God, Steven's energy. It's so amazing. I love Steven. It's like, it's so good. They wanted to your energy. So 100%.
Look, and again, it's because look, the guy that we're talking about, the music that we're talking about, which is true for all of us, has just brought us so much joy. Right. And so I have no problem. I've been very fortunate in my life too. Like I exude, like when I'm happy, I exude, and talking about Prince makes me exude. It just makes it makes me happy. It makes me think about times that I got to see him live, got to have conversations, got to have arguments with him. Anyhow. Oh, I appreciate that, Lorraine. Appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So, love hearing your stories. Thank you for sharing your memories and passion with us. Yeah, it's numbers, stories. That's what it's all about. So I'm just like letting you know just on those things because sometimes that matters to people. People are asking this, not a Prince question, but what do you think of Stevie's songs in the Key of Life?
It came out the fall of 1976. I was in 9th grade. And I remember Rachel Chapman at my school, Groton School, came through a dance on a Saturday night. And I remember, I can see her now walking by with it's almost like she's on display. Like, I have the album. I was like, oh, it's out. It's there. It's ready. It's one of the finest pieces of music of all time. It to me is. It's experimental. It's forward thinking. It is steeped in the past. To me, it is, and I'm not putting it on the same level. I gotta admit, although to me, what I'm about to say is deeper. But I see a corollary between Songs of the Key of Life and Sign of the Times. That's just.
Uh-oh. Losing you I'm not hearing your sound right now.
Can you hear me right now?
Now I can, yes.
Okay, cool.
That
was I was getting a call. I had to push it up.
All good. So someone keeps asking this question, but I don't think you know about, like, there was a project of his that was released without the estate giving approval, called Deliverance. They want to know, like, what you think of Deliverance and shouldn't have been released. I'm not sure how aware you are of that. That's why I've been ignoring it.
Don't worry about it. I have no problem being ignorant. I have no idea what Deliverance is.
It's an interesting project. I like it, but it wasn't supposed to be, at least from the estate's eyes, it wasn't supposed to be released because it's not through them and that they own Prince's work. So
we all have bootlegs that we're not supposed to have. So how is this any different?
Because it came out, because it wasn't circulating and it came out after his passing.
I'll try to find it. I'll find it.
Yeah. The actual song Deliverance, Sinbad spoke on it too. So get that one, I guess, first.
Oops. Not to be confused with Ned Beatty, the late Ned Beatty's Deliverance. It's a different Deliverance, right?
Yes.
Okay, my bad.
Right. So. Although I think we covered this in episode 1, but did Prince and MJ like each other?
They respected each other, that's for sure. They respected each other. There was absolute respect. Whether they liked each other, I couldn't speak to. I didn't know. I've heard stories. I heard a story of the time that, there was actually a dinner that happened between Michael Jackson and Prince when Michael wanted Prince to be on Bad.
Right.
And it was awkward as hell. Nothing got accomplished. And what saved the night was Bubbles.
Why is that?
Because Bubbles was Bubbles came into the room and everybody was like, oh, okay. And so all the awkwardness, sometimes you're in an awkward room and you need something to break up the awkwardness. Bubbles is the thing that broke up the awkward. And I heard that from somebody who was there at the dinner.
And just so you know, when it comes to Deliverance, yes, people are talking about when it first came out.
Different Deliverance.
Yes, without the estate's approval. And there was vinyl pressed up, CDs pressed up. They were going to sell it at Urban Outfitters and other places that didn't do it. But yes, on the estate's official Prince channel, they do have Deliverance up now.
Oh,
but it isn't exactly for sale, but it's been out there anyway because someone put it out there. But the vinyl that was supposed to be sold, there's a bootleg version of it. But there was supposed to be there was an official pressing from a Canadian company. That stuff has never come out, but you can officially hear it on the Prince channel on YouTube. So, and there is, other versions of it. But yeah, that's how it originally first came out. So, I guess next time you hear it and you do an Instagram Live, we'll give you like a week or two. They'll ask you what you think of it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I never did.
Roller
Susie
skate.
Queen. I never did roller skating. I never did play ping pong. I did see the light up sneakers when he walked into what was it? That lounge that was down on Gansevoort Street. I forget what it's called. No, let's see. There was another question I saw there. How would I be handling Prince's musical outfit if I were in charge? I must admit I like the way they're handling it. Right. Releasing stuff from the vault while attached to remastered projects that they have now, right? So they've mined the 1999, they've mined the Purple Rain era, they skipped. I think it's odd that they skipped Parade and
for now.
Sign of the Times. For now, I think there's a great idea to come. They can come back to Parade, and I would like to hear more around the Diamonds and Pearls era as well. That's just me.
Maybe getting that soon. But the reason for Parade, it wasn't exactly skipped, but because it's part of a soundtrack, Purple Rain, Parade, Batman even, and Graffiti Bridge, the licensing, the masters deal lasts longer with Warner Brothers for those. So they're putting out the ones that are expiring in North America, like 1999 and Sign of the Times. That's why Parade hasn't been done yet.
Got
it.
But
as for Diamonds and Pearls, might be hearing something about that soon. Didn't you have like a shirt or somewhere near you by that? Bring out that energy.
Yeah, I didn't bring up Diamonds. I bought the Diamonds Pearls shirt, right?
You did. We saw it earlier. bring that big diamonds and pearls energy.
Boom, boom.
Which, because I know
By the way, this is the one shirt I have. I like 5 of these shirts. I don't know how I got 5 of these shirts. I like 5 of these shirts.
White one, the white diamonds and pearls shirt, but we'll get into that another time.
That I have.
Which
the Act 2? I have an Act 1. I have an Act 1 and an Act 2 shirt.
Which celebrity have you seen have an epic fan moment with Prince that was funny? I've seen a few I've talked about before, but what about you?
I don't think he would be upset if I said. So Taraji P. Henson at the first LA house.
Okay.
He brought her on stage to sing Shoot. It may have been Sweet Thing, but I'm not sure. And she just had the greatest grin and just enjoyed doing it. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Taraji P. Henson geek out and get on stage and sing with friends. That was fun. And then there's Kim Kardashian who was like, I can't dance. I don't want to dance. I don't want to dance.
She was singing to Madonna. She was singing to Madonna.
I don't think I want to dance. Get off my stage. Get off my stage.
She was saying to Madonna that Prince told her to get the F off his stage.
Whatever.
And that's not true. That's all we're saying.
He was not cursing that time.
No. I talked about this before, but 77 Beverly Park Oscar after party where him and Stevie jammed, which was awesome. But before he took the stage, right when they cut off the DJ music, Spike Lee and Dane Cook running right to the front of the mic to be right there, right in front of Prince. That was just the point. I'm just I'm just chilling in the back, I got a good view here. And you, like I said, you had Stevie later on to the side, but just to see them run as soon as they're oh, it's gonna happen. It's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. They're both running to be who's going to be right in front of the microphone, and they both get there at the same time. Hilarious.
To understand, I made that run many times. Look, he'd have these parties, and there'd be great people, there'd be great conversation, but I was always there for the music. So I was, the time that I got pulled up on stage to play that funky music was because there was great. Look, it was a cavalcade of stars there, but I'm I want to be in front for the music.
Right.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Before 2013 Vegas, we were up front. We weren't maybe not right in front of the microphone, but we were up front.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know, did you know Charlie Murphy?
I met Charlie Murphy. I didn't know Charlie Murphy, but I met Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy was one of the funnier people I've known.
Someone wants to know give us a Rick James story.
Rick James' story is at BET Awards. I think it was 2004. We had Rick James and Tina Marie singing Fire and Desire together. They had an argument the night before. And so we had to have a meeting with both of them. And Tina was hot. And basically Rick came in with his tail between his legs the next day and promised not to go crazy. And so the big thing there was, of course, with the Charlie Murphy story, where Rick James said, he said, I'm Rick James. And so that was then. And so they did it. Rick and Tina came down the aisles, sang Fire and Desire, and Tina was like, I don't want to be on stage at all when Rick James. I don't want him saying that with me on stage. And so we found a way to have it. So they gave away an award. They walked off stage. And then Rick James doubled back and said, oh, yeah, and by the way, in case you didn't know, I'm Rick James. Right? Yeah. And so people cracked up and people went on sideways. But the reason it didn't happen with Tina at the mic is because Tina was like, I don't want to be there when it happens. And again, shout out to superstar John Cassette, who was the original overall producer, and Jesse and the team who made sure that happened. I'm Rick James.
And
I don't use the B word, so.
Someone's hoping, Pamela's hoping that in 2026 you guys do like a 10-year tribute to Prince on his transition. I don't know if that's something that you want.
I'm not doing it.
Do. Okay.
I mean, I'm not good. I mean, doing an IG live, but that's about it.
Right. Would you? I don't know if you would you help in producing a documentary with Prince? That's
yes.
My thing will be: have you been in contact with Netflix at all for their documentary that they're doing?
I have not been in contact with Netflix for their documentary, like the way I said that.
Yes.
I'm not saying there's not another documentary in the works.
Fair enough. They can always give me a call if they need anything. But
what should happen with the egg building at Paisley Park?
That was supposed to be a restaurant, and then
I'm going to answer that question,
please,
in about a year.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to answer that question in about a year because I have become very familiar with the egg, very, very, very familiar with the egg, and there will be a I'll let you know the egg. The egg is a building. So Paisley Park, is got the white slates on it, and so there's a side building that's kind of round with the same kind of white siding that is called the egg. That's what the egg is.
Right. Yeah. Now it's supposed to be like a restaurant, but it's just like with Kanye when he was building those houses that had no windows. He was building it without getting building permits. I hear that's what happened with the egg. Is he was doing it without building permits, and that's why it stopped in the middle of the construction. We'll see on that, but we'll see what happens in here, right?
We'll see what happens in just about a year, maybe a little less than a year, but we'll figure it out. It out. Right now, the egg's doors are chained shut.
For now. So the egg was supposed to be a restaurant. That's why it said in the song on the Rainbow Children album, we can swing by the egg. I know this dope spot called Love for Another. Yes. Will you do a podcast about Prince? I guess they don't like you're doing mine. They want you to do your own.
Hilarious. No, I won't. I will gladly guest on others and answer questions. And I love this. Like Jeremiah has been the greatest to me around this. I thoroughly enjoy enjoy this. I literally have a 6 o'clock flight tomorrow morning, and I have not packed yet. But
you gotta get going.
Absolutely having the time of my life having this conversation.
Any last questions about anything about Prince or whatnot before we let Steven go so he can pack and then get
excited? Shot, take jamming on the box.
There you go.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What's that?
They're like,
any other questions? All right, that's it. That's it. Don't miss that. That's funny. You are gonna miss your plane.
We don't want.
That's a line from the movie Before Sunset, Jeremiah. I was telling the Loopers about that the other night. One of my favorite movies of all time. Did you have any difficulties or challenges when I worked with him? Oh, well, I told the story before, but he became the de facto music producer of the tribute to Shaka Khan in 2006. 2006, when he performed with India Ari, Yolanda Adams, Stevie Wonder, Prince. I'm leaving out somebody, and I apologize for leaving it out. Right, so
India Ari was up
there. Yes, it was India, Yolanda, Stevie, Prince, and there's one more. I'm leaving somebody else. So we were all at a place called Soundstate at
Shaka herself. Go ahead.
And we were at a place called where is it? Out in Encino, right across from the airport. It's a place where everybody goes to rehearse their tours, rehearse for shows, and everything else. I forget what it's called.
Not
RSO. Is that?
Not RSO, right?
No. It's like back soundstage, some kind of blah 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 stage. It wasn't Lettucey. Anyhow, 2006, we're out there. And Prince is listening. Is like, no. Let me tell you how to play this. Let me do this. And he really, I got to see him be a band leader and how he worked a band and pulled them together and cajoled them and gave them great. Like, it wasn't like you saw him, like, he wasn't mean to the band. He was really encouraging. Like, I watched him be encouraging to a band as he helped them get to the sound that he knew that was right. And it was amazing to watch. The untold story of that time was, like, we were in studio like 2. I'm sorry, in like studio 7. And in studio 5 was Justin Timberlake rehearsing to go on the road for what was then the Love. And that was was that the Love Sexy tour? Was that Love Sexy?
Love Stoned.
I'm sorry, Love Stoned. No, I'm not Love Sexy. Sex Love Sounds. Future Sex Love Sounds.
Future Sex Love Sounds. And you have the song Love Stoned, yeah.
Right. So Future, and so this is all before that music is released. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm getting the time right, it was that. And so, like, I'm walking out, I'm there to see Prince. I'm watching Prince, and I'm walking out. I was like, JT, what the hell? He's like, no, come in. I gotta hear play this. And he basically, the band was playing. And the funny thing is, he had John Blackwell. Mm-hmm. He had Mike Scott. Like, he had the whole Prince's band in his band. I'm like, but I'm in Studio 7, but y'all in Studio 5. So when Studio 7 took a break, I went to Studio 5. Now, the song I remember most about hearing for the first time there when Justin Timberlake was doing it, at the same time we're rehearsing, the Shaka Khan thing is, what goes around, comes around, comes around, goes around, goes back around. And he's like, I got one that's like better than Cry Me a River. And he would give me, as the band went rehearse, he'd do like, and so this one does that. This one good. And so Love Stone, that one, and the other one is what's the one with T.I.? My Love. Oh, yeah. So that was just one of those special times where you're in one place and like center staging. I think it's called center staging in LA. And so yeah. So that was it. All right, let me stop. Shut up.
And this one is from Twitch. This may or may not be our last question. What does Steven think about the omission of Extra Lovable from 1999 Deluxe?
Nah, we'll get it somewhere else. We'll get it somewhere. We'll get it somewhere else. Like, I'm not concerned that I'm fine, because number one, we all have it. And number two, it'll come out some other time.
And if someone's asking what did Prince think of JT, he wouldn't want you to talk about that. So you can skip that.
Yeah.
When we talk about,
I don't know what he thought of JT. Like, I never, because even that day on the lot when everybody was there at the same time, there was no I think I was the only person who intermixed between the two places. I was the connection, and I got to admit, I'm a JT fan. I like what he's done. I haven't agreed with everything, but I like overall his approach. Like, I don't agree with everybody. Like, there's some things I've done I don't agree with, but right. But I like his approach. And I like his appreciation. Right. So Elvis took all that music and never gave any credit. Justin has never been shy to go like, hey, I got this from Charlie Wilson. I got this from Boyz II Men. I got this from the Temptations. Right. Justin Timberlake showed up to show tribute to Charlie Wilson on the BET Awards and led that. You saw Snoop Dogg doing choreography. He did that choreography because Justin Timberlake was like, we've got to do this for Charlie. Right? So say what's going on. I'm a JT fan forever, for good. Right? Not everybody does everything right. And he is all you can do is do something wrong and then make a sincere apology.
Right.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But what did I mean when you said during an IG show that you realized what you thought the true meaning was before joy and repetition? To recap, joy and repetition came out of what? 1990. Call it for me.
1990 is when it came out.
1990. That was the Graffiti Bridge.
The graffiti bridge, yeah.
And I think what I've said is that like it was a full 8 or 9 years later, I'm crossing 8th Avenue on my way to work, and I realized, oh shoot, I realized what the meaning of joy and repetition is. Mm-hmm. What is it? Holding someone is truly believing there's joy in repetition. It means that like, yeah, there's a great thing about like new love and like, oh my gosh, I love the way the newness of love is great. Oh, what? But at some point in time, if it's going to last, you are not getting anything new. You are not getting not a damn thing new. Your relationship is going to be wash, rinse, repeat. Now it may take 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 months, 5 years. But at some point in time, a long-lasting relationship is going to be wash, rinse, repeat. Now, if you can find the joy in repetition of that wash, rinse, repeat, then you will win. That's what I meant. And crossing 8th Avenue was when I realized that's it. There's some point in time where nothing becomes new, that everything is repeated. And so if you loving or holding someone is truly believing there's joy in repetition, I am looking forward to joy in repetition.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to it.
Amen. Was there any other questions that you thought you want, or should we wrap it up?
No, it's not about sex. It's not about sex. It's not about sex, Bambi. It's not about Mimi, Loopers, I love you. It's not about sex. It's not about sex. It's about, can you have the same conversation over and over again? Can you hear the same stories over and over again? Right? Can you put your arm around the same shoulder over and over again and be happy and find joy in it? Right? Because a lot of us love the thrill of the new, the shock of the new. But can you find joy in repetition? And the epilogue to that is that I had the good fortune to have dinner with Prince at his apartment once, and we were talking about lyrics and what lyrics meant. And he was talking about Joni Mitchell and we did from Parliament, and ran the gamut. And I literally thought, like, am I going to have this conversation with him? I have this conversation with him, and it wasn't in Paisley Park. It was in L.A. and there was an elevator, and he put us in an elevator, me and some of the people that we were having dinner, and said good night. And I reached out and said, like, okay, we were talking about lyrics. I feel remiss if I didn't tell you your lyrics. Like, I had that way about you. Like, holding someone is truly believing there's joy in repetition has changed my world. I stepped in the elevator. I just remember he gave me it was a smile / sneer, but I felt like it was an appreciation. Like, but that joy in repetition. Can you find joy in repetition? Can you find joy in repetition? I want to find joy in repetition so bad, but that's a whole nother podcast. Jeremiah, that's a whole nother podcast. I can't talk about that right now.
Yes, I know you got like less than 5 hours now, or no? Well, whatever you.
Oh damn! Wow, it's late, isn't it?
I know. We got to worry about your flight.
Indeed.
It's been a pleasure. I hope we answered as many questions as we could. I know there would always be a lot. So
thanks. And in a year, when everybody's forgotten about this, we'll do it all over again, all over again, or whatever. But I got Dr. Funkenberry. I've enjoyed this. This is look, talking about Prince is one of my favorite things in the world. It really is. He has brought me. I keep saying this, and I'm with you. Somebody said this. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find it. Somebody said joy and happiness are two different things. I am Thomas. Joy and happiness are two different things. Happiness is a feeling. Joy is a state of being. Joy is something that state of being of joy is something that Prince has brought me often. Like often. So whenever I get to talk about it, it brings that joy back. I feel closer to that joy that I felt when I got to watch him in concert. When I got to watch him practice for the BET Awards, where I'm the only guy in the room. And Yeah. So, yeah. That's
All right. It's been a pleasure.
no. Wait. Gilberto Garcia. I think she had the blue cloud, right? She didn't have the white cloud. She had the blue cloud from the Love Sexy tour.
White cloud.
At the BET Awards, I thought she had the blue cloud. I'm pretty sure she had the blue cloud. Because I remember going like, is
have
that
like
the blue cloud?
your thing behind me so we can be playing the performance. I thought it was white too, but sometimes
I think it was the blue. I'm pretty sure it was the blue cloud.
Okay.
Because because I'll take Love Sexy over Purple Rain tour anytime. So I was like, that's what Love Sexy tour. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again.
It's all good. It was a cloud guitar.
It's cloud guitar. It was cloud guitar. It was. Cool.
Man.
Olga, thank you.
Having you on. Thank you so much. Very, very
Thank you.
appreciate it. Hope it puts you in like a good mood for the flight, everything else for the rest of the week.
A great mood, dude. A great dude. Jeremiah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Loopers who came on board. Thank you everybody else who are Prince aficionados and Prince supporters. I hope we keep the energy going, keep the love going. It is crucial that we do so because it's what he would have wanted. Yeah, exactly. You can say whatever he wanted. He enjoyed nothing more than seeing people enjoy his music, and we do. So
100%. Have a safe flight. Say hello to Damaris for me.
I gotta reach out to her.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. Check out Instagram Live for sure. Good seeing you, man. Thank you guys so much. All together, that was over 6 hours with all the parts. Really appreciate Steven's time. Hope we got to every question that we could. I'm sure he saw some and some that he just didn't do. Yeah, I believe it was white too when it came to the cloud. But I look forward to our next show. Enjoyed having Steven on, and we'll let you guys know who the next guest is. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to us on Apple Music, Spotify, donations, YouTube, everywhere else. It is so much appreciated. Thank you guys so much for your time and continuing Prince's legacy, and it's all up to us. Thank you so much. Till next time, keep it funky. Much love, and thank you, Prince.